Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast where we talk to influential individuals about their journeys to success. I'm your host, Hannah Smith, and today I'm joined by Lance Clark, producer director for Forrester Films and his company LC Media Inc. He is also the Dean of Arts at Huntington University in Indiana. Thank you for joining me today, Lance.
Thank you, Hannah. This is such an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. So, your film, The Carpenter's Prayer, just debuted to theaters nationwide. Well, first of all, can you give us a brief summary of your film for those who might not know what it's about?
Sure. A Carpenter's Prayer is a story about a broken down carpenter. He's a washed up country singer. He's struggling with alcohol addiction and he just doesn't feel connected to his community. And he returns home. And at the same time, there's a rural pastor and his family that has been tasked to kind of unite four smaller churches into one bigger church. And they've raised all the money, they've bought some land, and they're trying to build this church. And their lead carpenter has a heart attack and isn't able to fulfill their duties, and they need a carpenter. And so they are stuck on what to do. Everything's going to domino backwards. And then they pray about it, and all of a sudden, across the field comes this rambling car, and out comes our protagonist, Glenn Frank, and says, "Hey, I hear you might need some help." And that is kind of the catalyst for the story of broken down, alcoholic carpenter meets churchy people. Can they come together? Can they work together? Are lives going to be changed?
And this is actually the story of your family. This is your dad. So,
Okay, yes, it is. Yeah.
so what
Yep.
has this process been like for you to have the story of your family go from script to the big screen?
I have been asked that question a lot. Like, Lance, can you separate the fact that this is your story? It's based on a true life story. It is basically taking about 3 years of my actual childhood, probably between the ages of 6 and 11, 6 and 10, somewhere in there, 4 years, and like squeezing it into about 3 or 4 months. Okay. Because remember, it's a movie. Okay. It's not a documentary, it's a movie. And so we took all the truthful spots that happen and squeeze them in. So when I'm reading the script and when we got into principal photography and all that, I have to admit it was at times very surreal to like see my parents being acted out as actors and see my little brother as an actor and see my little mini Lance out there doing his thing. And I had to learn to kind of bifurcate and just kind of split my mind on like, okay, this is the stage, this was the reality, but at the end of the day, it's a beautiful story, and I have always believed it was a great story.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful that we were able to tell it.
Yeah, that's so cool. And what were some of the challenges you faced while creating this film?
Well, just to get any film into an actual movie theater is like a shot to it's like a trip to the moon, shot to the moon. It's definitely one in a million chances of doing that, especially for independent filmmakers. Because I think I'm not the only one to say, "Oh, I've got a great story." This should be made into a movie. I mean, we all do that, right? And I humbly did tell my writer director, I'm like, I really think this could be something. We were kicking this idea around 4 years ago. And I think one of the most challenging things about it is in the process is just every stage of the way, you always have these hurdles. And that's just the way it is through fundraising. I tell everybody I'm a fundraiser, I'm a producer, so producers got to produce, and it's just 1,000, maybe 1 million little decisions and little things that lead to that way. And at the end of the day, when you're sitting in the theater and you're sitting with other people around you, that strangers that you don't know, and they're sitting there watching the film, and you hear the sniffles and you hear the emotion in their hearts come out, and you're like, okay, this was worth it. This was worth it. It's having impact, and it's so rewarding.
And lastly, what would you say to an aspiring filmmaker about their film journey?
I think I would just tell all aspiring filmmakers to just really don't give up on your dream. Okay, I've had the film bug since I was 13 years old, and I saw my very first movie in a theater. The runway might be longer for some people. I'd say pursue your dreams, get out there and do it. Outwork, outserve, outlove. Take pictures every day. Write something every day. Post something every day. Just get your work out there, and it's also a collaborative art. So you've got to collaborate with others and team up and just have a blast because it is a lot of fun making movies. A lot of work, it's also a lot of fun and very rewarding, especially when you're using your gifts that God gave you.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Lance. It was a pleasure.